Hey YouTube, Kaja here. This is another update to the True Selesnya brew. If you haven't seen the other videos, be sure to check them out, or not, because this is the most recent brew, and I think this one's probably the most viable. I'm going to go over some of the matchups, just logically. I already, yeah, and then I'm going to do some recordings, uh, go over some of the recordings on the matches. It's just 2 matches, but I think you can get the idea. If you ever want to try out the deck, you can always go on cockatrice.de and just load it up and go into the rooms and play it. It's pretty easy to do. Um, you can see here we have the full brew. Let's go back over to. I find it easier with the list in front of me. So first things first, we're going to start out with the lands. It has changed. I've kind of smoothed it out with the overgrown tomb. And I've dropped the caverns. I've even dropped them out of the board. I have 1 cavern in the main. Just in case you get to that point where, you need to stick a beast. That's how you can do it. The rest of the land, I went up to 3 Gavanies. I think this is right. Because you're looking at a lot of tokens, a lot of mana, and you can really use this card. It's good against control, it's good against aggro matchups, and I just think you have so many ways to push through things onto the table that you don't really need to focus on things like caverns. So having the extra Gavanies I think is better. And of course you have the 3 hollowed fountains and the 1 island. Those specifically are for the supreme verdicts in the main and the side. You need that density of islands to kind of get them naturally, but you also can find them with borderland rangers or farseeks. So between the actual lands, the rangers, and the farseeks, you have 14 ways to get blue in the deck. So that's not too bad. Moving on. And again, we cut things like, I don't think we need Vault. I don't think it does enough in general. And I don't think we need things like Kessig Wolf Run. I might tool around later with using red in this deck, but we're already black because of the Lingering Souls. So I don't think we need to, go that 4th color. It might be a little too deep. And we want to be doing things like grabbing green mana for Garooks and Crater Hoofs. So that's one thing to consider. And another thing to consider is there is no like green-red land that we can grab with Farseek. Or yeah, there is no green-red land that we can grab with Farseek, and the same goes for blue. So this is a little bit more consistent on that sense. All right. Enchantments, still 3 intangible virtues, 1 druid's repository. So in my earlier videos, I had this in one of the brews. I needed a 60th card this time, so I went ahead and added this one as the 60th one. I think it's right. You have the intangible, you have the lingering souls, you have the increasing devotions to kind of use it. You have the Crater Hoof Behemoths to get value off of it. You've got Angel to get value off of it. So there's so many ways early, even these early creatures are all ways to activate this repository. And once it starts going off, it's pretty hard to deal with. I went back up to 2 charms in the main. I don't want 4, maybe 4 altogether, but like I realized that even though charm may not be able to exile all the time, and that the format is getting used to 5 power creatures that you can just exile with this, the flash ability and the trample ability are still very relevant with planeswalkers. So you can push through with Thragtusk. you can save one of your guys, you can make a dude. So I think 2 is just fine in the main. It has a lot of applications. The creatures, I had 4 mana producers in the main, but I've since dropped that to 1 and 1. Most of the time you're going to side this out games 2 and 3, but I think it does enough in the main that you're like, I would like a mana producer turn 1. And, you know, I can do that with a tomb or a forest or a cavern or whatever you have, a garden. So there's ways to push this out turn 1 if you want to, and start getting value off of your 3 drops for turn 2. So I think that's enough of a reason to kind of run these guys. Same thing with the Pilgrim. I like 1 and 1. I think Arbor Elf is good for getting out Garug. And again, there's a lot of white in the deck, so Avacyn's Pilgrim is just fine. And Borderland Ranger, great card. It's still I can't see of any other 3 drops that I want. There's no like awesome 3 drop other than things like, you know, Primordial Ooze or, you know, things like that, which, you know, are good, but this helps the deck do what it wants to do, and that's get big. And you can flash it with Resto Angel, fixes your mana. I don't know if there's anything else I'd put in over it right now. The Craterhoof Stay, this is your win con. Most people don't expect it game 1. They see that you're a token brew and that you're playing a lot of tokens and Garuks and things. But when you slam one of these, they are usually surprised. And it's still good for games 2 and 3. Resto Angels, I think it's good. There's enough Planeswalker decks out there that it's very strong. You can get value out of it a number of ways in this deck, and I think I have 1 on the board. We'll get to the board in a minute. No, just 3. And again, 3 Thragtusk. I think 4's too many. You know, they do give a lot of value, but they don't win you the game, and I don't think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to win. Okay, and the 3 Lingering Souls. This card is very good with all the Planeswalkers we have. We have 4 Planeswalkers in the deck now, so we can kind of protect him and get big off of your Virtues and Gavinies. And you know, it's kind of like a mini devotion, so you can push through threats through counters with this card. It's just a lot of versatile ability. Working out pretty good. A lot better than I thought it'd be. And the devotions are also, I think 4 is probably too many. You just want to, you know, you don't want 4 of these in your opening hand. You probably don't want 3 of them. So having 3 in the deck overall is probably fine. And then you've got your 4 Planeswalkers. I like Relentless here. He does everything the Big Garuk does if he hangs around long enough. And he digs for your best creatures. He makes dudes. So he's just an all-around, you know, all-star in this deck. And that's pretty much it. Ranger's Path, just 1. I won't go more than 1 in the main. We'll talk about why I have 1 on the board here. Ranger's Path, when you're racing against decks like Reanimator, you want to be able to, let me move this up here some. You want to be able to compete with them, because they do run 4 and 4 as far as Arbor Elves and Avacyn's Pilgrims go, but you're going to have access to Supreme Verdicts to deal with those types of decks. Same thing goes for red and, you know, just straight up green-white or get rid of a Geist. There's so many reasons to be running Verdicts. I was kind of struggling. Do I have a Verdict in the main? There should be a Verdict in the main here. So I forget what I cut over it, but there should definitely be 1 in the main. Ugh. Anyways, so between the main and the board, you should have 4 of these. 2 more charms for all the reasons listed. Just a great card in general. Purify for the Reanimator matchups. Unburial Rites. If you're going against like a heavy burn black control deck, you might want to board this in. And 2 healers for red. The extra Thragtusk for red. And some Smiters for the blue-white. And I did want to mention there's so many different decks out there in the meta right now that it's really tough to decide on what your deck is doing. You can build it to win against 2 or 3 decks, but it probably won't win against the other ones. I think I've rounded this out probably about as much as I can without trying red in general. I really haven't tried red yet. I'm pretty happy with this though. It's really strong. And you'll see in some of my videos, I did pretty well in the matches that I played today. And if you have any questions, comments, feel free to check me out, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye.